Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Star back into the video today, and today we're going to be talking about a potential blockbuster trade for the Houston Astros. As today it was reported by Astros, or an Astros, Twitter reporter, or just an Astros reporter, Michael Schwab, that the Astros have discussed the possibility of trading for Dylan Cease, White Sox ace, which yesterday we heard that the Astros were targeting Dylan Cease. So not only are they talking about a potential trade for Dylan Cease, White Sox ace, but they're also talking about a trade that would include Dylan Cease and White Sox All-Star and starting center fielder Luis Robert Jr. Schwab continues to go on. Per people familiar with the process, it would require several big league talent and also minor league talent, but there is momentum. Have fun with that info is what Michael Schwab tweeted today. So let's talk about what a potential trade for the Astros would look like, landing 2 stars in Dylan Cease and Luis Robert Jr. With this trade, if the Astros were able to pull something off like this, it would remind me a lot like the Dodgers trading for Max Scherzer and Trey Turner when we saw the Dodgers do that. I think the only difference with that trade was with the Scherzer and Turner trade is both guys did not have a lot of years on their contracts. You just saw Turner leave the Dodgers for the Phillies last offseason, and I think he only played like a year or two there. And then Scherzer was a free agent going into that offseason. The only difference is, that these guys have multiple years left on their contract. I think Robert has in the area of 2 to 3 years left on his contract. I think Cease is in the same area as well, like 2 to 3, maybe 4 years left on his contract, which probably makes them a little bit more expensive. And so, yeah, let's talk about what the potential trade would be to land the Astros, Luis Robert, and Dylan Cease. You're talking about having to give up probably multiple top 10 prospects. I would think 3 or 4 top 10 prospects, and then some decent major league talent. Let's go over these two guys' stats over the 2023 season. So Luis Robert, who's obviously the best hitter in the White Sox offense this season, has a 275 batting average with 27 home runs, 56 RBIs, a 901 OPS, 93 games, 356 at-bats, 98 hits, 21 walks, and has struck out 111 times. It is for sure the best player on the White Sox, or best hitter on the White Sox. I would probably say either Dylan Cease or Luis Robert. I would think Dylan Cease and Luis Robert are the 2 best players for the White Sox. For the Astros, you're contacting the White Sox on trading for probably their 2 best players. So that's why this trade could potentially be very hard. And Robert, he would be great for the Astros. I just feel like, you have Chas McCormick. I think the addition of Robert, I feel like Robert would probably be way better for the Astros than having Chas McCormick, even though Chas McCormick has been on fire right now. His last, 3 games, or last 4 games, he has, how many RBIs? He had, I believe, 3 RBIs on Sunday's game. He had 1 RBI in Monday's game, and then he had 2 RBIs today. I think he had like 2 or 3 RBIs on Saturday. So I think he has like 8 RBIs, or it's like 8 or 9 RBIs in the last 4 games, and with multiple home runs, with, I believe, 4 home runs in the last 4 games. He has been on fire, and his batting average has taken a huge boost as well. His batting average is like 285 now. So he's just been on fire for the Astros recently. And he's a guy that would have to be involved in this trade. So let's go over the trade details to land Dylan. I went over Robert's stats real quick, but I'm going to go over Dylan Cease's stats as well. He is 4-3 this year. He is their ace pitcher. He has a 4 ERA, 4.10 ERA, 99 hits, 45 walks, with 130 strikeouts and 20 game starts with 110 innings pitched. So the strikeouts are very high in 110 innings, and Also, yes, his ERA hasn't been the best, but I think he'd probably be able to bounce back. I think, honestly, he'd probably pitch way better on the Astros as well. It's a different situation. The White Sox aren't playing as good this year, and I think the Astros would be a second chance for Dylan Cease to play way better. He's 27 years old. I think this would be a new situation for Dylan Cease to, play way better, play for a World Series contender. And honestly, a trade like this with the Astros getting Robert Jr. and Dylan Cease makes the Astros championship contenders. They're already a good baseball team as of right now, and they're without guys in their offense and their pitching like Jose Altuve, Yordan Alvarez on the offense, without Jose Urquidy on the pitching, and they're still a really good team. So to add those guys back and then to maybe make a potential trade like this, the Astros would be dangerous. But let's go over what the trade would look like. So here we go. The blockbuster deal to land the Astros, probably the two best players on the White Sox. So the Astros would give, of course, Chas McCormick, 285 batting average this season. 285 batting average this season. He has 12 home runs, 35 RBIs. His OPS is really high. I think it's in like the 800, 900 area, and has been just dominant for the Astros recently. And he's a guy. It sucks to give him up, but in this case, you're bringing in Luis Robert. He's a center fielder. You have to give up good major league talent. That's Chas McCormick. And y'all make the argument down in the comment section whether Astros fans, do me a favor. Y'all make the argument down in the comment section whether you would rather have for the Astros Chas McCormick or Luis Robert Jr. I love Chas McCormick, but I think in my opinion I'd rather go with Luis Robert Jr. Let's go over what the Astros would also have to give up. They'd have to give up J.P. France, a pitcher who's been a starting pitcher for the Astros this year. He's pitched 12 games with 12 game starts, 70 innings pitched, 4-3 this year, 3.31 ERA, 68 hits given up, 21 walks given up, 50 strikeouts. It's been really solid for a rookie for the Astros. I'd like to give him up, but I think that's something the Astros would have to do. Then next, the Astros would send their second-best prospect, Jacob Melton, a guy who is still in Single-A, but is still really good and has a potential to be, I think, in my opinion, a star. He's really good. I think the Astros would definitely be – this would be a great move. Sorry, what I meant is this would be a great move for the White Sox acquiring him. He's a guy who plays right field mainly. He can play center field as well. I think he plays a little bit of left as well. But they need a right fielder. They need talent for the future in the farm system, to add in to make this team better over the next couple of years. And he's a guy I think has potential to be a superstar. And this year in Single-A, 303 plate appearances with 261 at-bats, 56 runs scored, 63 hits, with 16 home runs, 33 RBIs, 34 stolen bases, 41 walks, and has a 242 batting average. So it's been really solid in Single-A this year. Then the Astros would also give up their fifth best prospect. So two top 5 prospects. The Astros would give up Corey Lee, who did play 12 games for the Astros in 2022 at the major league level, had a total of 4 RBIs and a batting average of 165. Not that great in the majors, but was his first time there. He's their fifth best prospect. He's a catcher. He's a left fielder and a first baseman. And I think he has a chance to potentially be a star. And just sadly, due to Martin Maldonado being on the roster and Yanner Diaz breaking out for the Astros, looking like a potential star in the making for the Astros, Corey Lee just has not got the chance to play in the major league level for the Astros. He's been dominant in Sugar Land. He's played 68 games in Sugar Land this year in AAA, 302 plate appearances, 283 at-bats, 37 runs scored, 80 hits, 18 doubles, 1 triple. He has 5 home runs with 32 RBIs and a 283 batting average, with his OPS being 735 and his on-base percentage being 283. 320, 328. So he's a guy who I think has the potential to be a star in the making, and he just needs to get that chance to play in the majors. And they have I can't remember the catcher of the White Sox roster, but they're looking to trade him. Corey Lee would be the starter for the White Sox. I think it's Yasmani Grandal is their current catcher. They're looking to trade him as well, and Corey Lee would come in being their starting catcher, and I think he would pop off in Chicago. Then the Astros would also send another top 10 prospect. They would send pitcher Spencer Ragati, who has pitched in both AAA and AA this season, and he spent more time this year in AA than he has in AAA. He's played 13 games with 8 starts in AA this year with a 4.15 ERA, 60 innings pitched, 48 hits given up, 28 runs given up, 28 earned runs given up, 4 home runs given up. So 4 home runs in that amount of pitching 60 innings and only giving up 4 home runs is pretty solid. And then he has a total of 80 strikeouts. So he's been really solid for the Astros in Corpus Christi in AA. Was probably even better in AAA in his not a lot of time spent there. AAA, he was 0-1. Well, okay, So in AA this season, he's 7-2. In AAA, he's 0-1, 3.86 ERA. With 4 games and 3 starts, he pitched 16 innings in AAA this year, 14 hits given up, 7 earned runs, 3 home runs, and 9 walks with a total of 20 strikeouts. So it was solid, and not as good as he was in Corpus Christi, but was solid in AAA. And the first couple times he had played there, so he's another top 10 prospect for the Astros. So he's a guy who has, I think, some potential talent to maybe be a solid pitcher. So, and then also the Astros would send a AAA infielder, Rylan Bannon, who's played a total of 2 games in the major league level for the Astros, can play second base and third base, and probably would just still head to AAA for the White Sox. So the White Sox get 6 players, the Astros get 2. So here's the full trade. The White Sox get two players who have shown that they've been able to prove themselves to the Astros at the major league level this year. With a total of 3 top 10 prospects and then a minor league player. So they get 2 pitchers, 2 starting pitchers where they need starting pitching because they're looking to move guys like Dylan Cease, Lucas Giolito, and Lance Lynn. After those guys are gone, they're going to need starting pitching. Even if they don't trade them, now, not Dylan Cease, Lance Lynn and Lucas Giolito are free agents. So they'll probably leave them in free agency. I think most likely all of Dylan Cease, Lucas Giolito, and Lance Lynn will be traded. Maybe not Dylan Cease, but I definitely think Lucas Giolito and Lance Lynn will be traded this trade deadline. So they will need starting pitching once all potential 3 starting pitchers, Lance Lynn, Lucas Giolito, and Dylan Cease are gone. So they get Spencer Ragati, who's a top 10 prospect for the Astros, ranked 9. JP France, who started 12 games with a 3.3 ERA, has been really solid for the Astros, as a rookie. So they add in those 2 guys. And then they add in some decent bats. They added in Chas McCormick, who's been dominant for the Astros this year. Only 60 games, 12 home runs, 35 RBIs, 800 OPS, and a 285 batting average. He'll be the new center fielder for the White Sox. Jacob Meldon, a top 2 prospect for the Astros. He should be a near superstar level. Corey Lee, a catcher, top 5 prospect. Only thing that's holding him back is, getting into the majors, which has been a problem for him because the Astros have Martin Maldonado and Yanner Diaz. If the White Sox get rid of Yasmani Grandal, Corey Lee will be the starter for the White Sox. I think he has the chance to be a potential star. And then Rylan Bannon, who's a solid AAA player. So I don't know if the White Sox say yes to the deal, but I feel like that could potentially be one of the top offers the White Sox could potentially get for Lucas Giolito Dylan Cease and Luis Robert. They're getting 3 top 10 prospects and 2, good major league players who have proven themselves for the Astros, and Chas McCormick and JP France, and then an additional minor league player. So I don't think the White Sox do that deal. I don't think the White Sox trade Luis Robert Jr., but I think that is a good offer from the Houston Astros. Jacob Melton, Corey Lee, Spencer Aragati, let me just go over that again because I feel like I already said Corey Lee. Corey Lee, Jacob Melton, Spencer Aragati, Chas McCormick, JP France, Rylan Bannon. And the Astros get Dylan Cease and Luis Robert Jr. I got a feeling that the White Sox probably say no to that deal, but I feel like that's a very strong offer from the Houston Astros. 2 top-tier pitchers, multiple top prospect at-bats with Melton and Lee, and McCormick, who's a guy who's been dominant for the Astros. And I feel like that's probably a top offer the White Sox are going to get. You guys know your thoughts on the trade idea for the Houston Astros? Let me know your thoughts, Astros fans, and peace out. Go Astros.